Hi all. Okay, we're gonna set up a bootable USB drive with Kali Linux. USB drive is one of these things. Any cheapie will do. 4 gigs will work. I think they recommend 8, but that's only if you're going to store more stuff on it. For our purposes, I'm pretty sure a 4 gig will work. Okay, and I've read you can also do it with a card. If you have a memory card, if you can put that in your computer. What I do is I have an adapter and I put the memory card in the adapter and then I can plug that into my USB. It's best just to get a USB thumb drive. My original thought was to get a 2-pack, but I went to Walmart website and I priced them. You get a 2-pack. You can get a 2-pack for $29, more or less $30, but that's 64 gig, and we only need 4 gig. So if you can go to a store, you might want to try even a dollar store and see if you can get a cheapie for a couple bucks. I don't know if the dollar stores sell them. I haven't been in there in years, but you might want to check it out. Something you might want to think about is USB 3. The USB 3, the color is blue. On your computer and on your thumb drive, those will run a little faster. If we're going to boot Kali off a thumb drive, it'll run a little faster. So I think most of mine are red. I think I might have a couple blue ones, but I haven't seen those in a while. So if you have a newer computer, your USB plug will probably be blue. There might be one blue and maybe 2 reds. Let's follow my notes here. I sat down a few nights ago and started to do the download Kali Linux video. A few minutes into it, I stopped because I realized there are numerous small steps to take to get a Kali thumb drive up and running. For computer savvy people, this is easy, but for beginners, the process is tough. There are many 3-minute videos on YouTube showing how to create a bootable Kali thumb drive, and those are great for computer savvy people. For example, so just to show you where I'm coming from here, for example, if I said go to the store and buy milk, okay, I left out 100 minor steps to complete this task. And it's the same thing with setting up a bootable thumb drive. So as I started to put together this file, I decided to turn this into a full-blown learning experience. This will probably be 4 or more 30-minute videos. In the old days, maybe 1990s, late 1980s, 1990s, even 2000s, you could just download a simple ISO file. The ISO file is the Kali Linux file. It would be kali.iso. You know how like a picture file is .jpeg or a Word file is .doc. Well, and and operating system is ISO. So in the old days, you could just download a simple ISO file. It's huge, it's 4 gigs. And then use a CD burner app to write your bootable CD. The CD burner app would have to be able to write an ISO file to a CD or DVD. And then you just hope it worked. When you download the huge file, it could be corrupted. Okay, so I looked at a few other things that we could do. There's something that's called Windows Subsystem for Linux, WSL. Using the Windows Subsystem for Linux, you can run Linux inside Windows like a regular app. This wouldn't be a full-blown version of Linux that you could use for a business or an operation. It's a full-blown operating system, but it's just meant for fiddling around or educational use. So it's not a full-blown install of Linux like on the hardware. It's a full version of Linux. This actually looks pretty cool. I watched a few videos on it here, but it still takes a few steps to set up. So I'm thinking if we got to do all those steps, we might as well just create a bootable USB. But I just thought I'd mention it to you in case you want to experiment with it. So I thought this video was pretty good. They walk you through it step by step. And then something else that we could do is go to Fedora. Fedora is another version of Linux. It's called Fedora Project. So it looks like you can still download a regular ISO from Fedora. These days the downloads work a lot better because our router speeds, our modem speeds are a lot faster. In the old days it would take a few hours to download an ISO file because they're huge. But these days it would be a lot faster. And we'll definitely work with Fedora in future videos. Fedora is just the free version of Red Hat Linux. There's many versions of Linux. We'll talk about that later. But I would consider Red Hat probably the main version these days. Been around for years. So the pay version is Red Hat. Red Hat's free version is called Fedora. So what they do is they put all the new features in Fedora, give it out for free, and then once they know it's stable, they sell it to their customers as Red Hat. And mainly what they're selling is the technical help. This would work just like a Kali Linux install, but even with that, we still have to complete most of the steps below. The only step we skip is the checksum, because we just download the ISO. Click on it and download it. So using a checksum is a good thing to learn. And we'll do that down below. So we might as well just go with the Kali Linux download. Here's a link to Fedora. It's fedoraproject.org. fedoraproject.org. You can buy older Red Hat books on Amazon, probably $5. Here, let's check that out. So here's a Linux Bible, and then here it says 10th edition of the book. Covers the latest versions of Red Hat Enterprise, Linux, RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8, and Fedora 30, and Ubuntu 18. These books are usually really thick. It's probably going to be 800 pages here. Let's see. Uh, 928 pages. So they cover practically everything. Here's something you might want to think about getting: a Linux pocket guide. You know, it fits right in your pocket, your shirt pocket or your pants pocket. That way when you're out running around, taking the wife shopping or stuff like that, you know, doctor's office or dentist, you can bring that with you and flip through it. Those are usually pretty good. They cut right to the good stuff. Fedora 6. You know, it's older versions, but you get these things cheap. See here, $2.99. If it was $2.99 and free shipping, it would be a real good deal. Can't beat it for $3. For our purposes, we're mainly concerned with learning the command line. Okay. Of course, we want to learn the Kali desktop, you know, how to get to the apps and things like that. But the hard stuff, the stuff that'll take time, is learning the command line. What you can do is on the internet, on the web, there's free online shell accounts. That's what they're called, shell. Fancy word for command line. There are websites that offer free shell accounts. Some even come with many features like using Telnet, PuTTY, MySQL, Unix accounts. They're not Linux, they're on Unix. You have the option to use a bash shell or a corn shell. So here we're just saying this is a generic shell account. Well, there's different types of shells. Bash is the most popular one. Corn shell is like the highly exotic one for programming corn scripts. You can write scripts in bash too. Some free shell accounts may be great, while others may be full of ads. For what you're getting, looking at a few ads, that's not a bad deal. In future videos, we'll check some out, mainly to fiddle with the topics that I mentioned above, the PuTTY, MySQL, and stuff like that. PuTTY is the main app you connect to your free shell account with. We used to use Telnet. Telnet used to be a built-in app in Microsoft. I don't remember exactly where it used to be, But it used to be like in the Windows administrative tools or something like that. It would be right in here. And it's just like the command line, the black screen. Okay, it looks just like this, but it's used for going out on the internet and connecting to a shell account. The problem with Telnet was it wasn't secure. It sent all the text so other people could read it. Hackers could look at it and stuff like that. So everybody went to PuTTY. PuTTY is just a secure Telnet app. And it's free. It's a small file. So these days it's best to use PuTTY. PuTTY is just a secure Telnet app. Telnet sends data in plain text for anyone to read. Here's a video I found on how to set up a free shell account. She walks you through the steps pretty good. The only thing different is when you're on the ArborNet website, you click a button at the top of the web page and it opens up Telnet instead of having to go through your Windows apps. So I'm not saying to do this, but if you watch through it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's do a quick Google search. Is ArborNet a good place to get free shell accounts? ArborNet, which hosts Mnet, is a fantastic, nostalgic option for a free Unix shell account. Let's ask the same question in AI mode. As the world's longest running public access Unix system, it offers a stable, nonprofit-backed environment. And then down here, it lists a few other systems. Okay, so you can just do a search for free shell accounts too. If you just search free shell accounts, you'll get lists. You just have to be careful. You never know what you're getting into. It could be some guy just learned Linux and he's running a server in the basement. I used to use PHP web hosting in my younger days. I had an account there for probably 20 years. $10 a month, and I had places store websites. I had MySQL database, PHP programming, all through their shell account. And then what they started doing was they restricted access from PuTTY. You couldn't log in with PuTTY. You had to go through their web page to do all the things you wanted to do. That was to prevent hacking, which is a good thing. But you couldn't use it to learn how the command line works. Now, they knew me, so they gave me access. I could still log in with PuTTY. But I think for most new accounts, you might not be able to log in with PuTTY. And they had great tech help. You could call them on the phone, ask them questions. So I don't know if you could log in there with PuTTY or not. FYI, while free shell accounts are great, definitely set up a few. But most will come with restrictions. so beginners cannot accidentally break their servers or hack them. By that I mean you may be trying to learn some type of command and the system won't let you run that command. They just have it turned off. And you be fighting with it for hours, not realizing that you're not allowed to run that command. And one mistyped command can really mess things up. So if you had access to their system with PuTTY, you'd have your own account. You wouldn't have direct access to the main servers, but it's still your system. It's your account. If you mistype a command, it might mess up your account. Then you have to call them up and say, hey, I was trying to learn this command and I messed things up. Can you fix it? This is why I'm thinking it's still best to set up your own Kali Linux USB, so you have total access without restrictions. Okay? So let me read that again. It's still best to set up your own Kali Linux USB thumb drive, so you have total access without restrictions. And the way we'll set it up at first is if you run a command and break your Kali Linux install, you just reboot and you're back to the original version. Okay? There's different ways you can set up a USB, but we're just going to do the most basic. So if you break something, it's no big deal. When you reboot, it discards all your changes. Okay, so you can see why I think this is going to be a bunch of videos. Just to show you where we're going with this, number one, it's just an overview of this file.